All right, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to the 1883 Speaker Series. My name is Mike Wozniak, and I serve as the Coordinator of Leadership and Programming in the Student Involvement and Parent Programs Office. Each week, we invite a campus or community leader to talk about how today's student can develop their leadership skills, as well as other advice regarding personal and professional development. We hope you learn some valuable lessons in the next 18 minutes and 83 seconds. For today's speaker, please join me in welcoming the Mayor of East Grand Forks, Steve Gander.
Thank you. Thanks, folks. As mentioned, I serve as mayor of the city of East Grand Forks. First thing I'd like to do is thank the people of East Grand Forks for the privilege of serving as your mayor. Huge, huge honor. I'd like to thank the team that I work with over there on the city council, all of the council members, present and past, especially Council President Mark Olstead. Worked with two city administrators over there, Reed Hutton and David Murphy. Want to thank both of those. Just lost my monitor. That's okay, though.
That's good.
Thanks to our city clerk, Megan Nelson. Megan has helped me to become better and better and better as mayor. I walked in the door, and to her face and behind her back, I've said, Megan is teaching me to be a mayor. She's served with Mayor Stouse before and helped me get up to speed. So thanks, Megan. And thanks to all our department heads and city staff. You people are amazing. You do the work. You do all of the good that happens in our city, through the city. Thanks also to the friends at the city of Grand Forks, all my friends here at UND, over at Northland, all the schools, public schools, and education is a beautiful thing. I'm also an optometrist, along with being mayor. For several years now, I've given an eye disease lecture to the second-year medical students here at UND. And I've gotten some feedback from these dear students saying, we'd like to have some more clear learning objectives at the front end of the lecture. And so, here are our learning objectives. To become an effective leader, you must gain mastery in these three areas: competence, kindness, candor. If you'll do these three things, you can do no better. I don't care if you're taking a brain tumor. I don't care if you're teaching the kindergartners, and I don't care if you're building rockets that are going to fly to Mars. Do these three things, you can't go wrong. That's as good as it gets. So in the next 1883, I hope to share with you some ideas to help you build a successful life of service. Many of these principles are commonly known, but not so very commonly applied and understood. Nothing is new under the sun. But you know what? I don't care if this is from 950 BC, it's still relevant today, and I just maybe haven't learned it yet because I wasn't quite ready for it. For full disclosure, then, I have to name off a few of the people because I have no idea where this stuff came from. You know, you've read all these books for how many years? So it's been people that have impacted me: Stephen Covey, Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, Billy Graham, Condoleezza Rice, Peter Drucker, Benjamin Franklin, Carlton Sheets, Jim Collins, Jerry Porras, Darren Hardy, Simon Sinek, Rick Warren, John Maxwell, and many others. Whew. So you'll probably have heard something by the time we're done from each one of those. So first of all, how do we gain competence? I remember helping one of my sons with homework way back in the day when he was quite young, and he was studying the Stoic philosophers, among them Marcus Aurelius. And as I read about Marcus Aurelius, I was really taken by the quality of his logic. And his book that he used kind of as his own guidebook back then was a book called Meditations. So I bought the book and I read it. And I was really blown away by how clear and concise and really advanced the logic of Marcus Aurelius and these Stoic philosophers was. What's the big deal? Well, 3 points that I took from that. One, just because knowledge has been around for 1,843 years doesn't mean that I know it. Number two, new insights can and will come from anywhere. And number three, we need to stay alert for the information to come because it'll come from anywhere. Just like we said a minute ago, it'll come from sideways, it'll come from any which way. So no one person can tell you everything you know to succeed. But if you listen to enough people, really wise people, not like me, and apply discernment to what you hear and add it all together, you will have what you need to really excel in life. Learning is sequential, and it requires repetition. So you have to learn to count before you can do calculus. So you maybe heard a thing 1,000 times, and it never stuck. Either A, you just weren't ready for it, you weren't alert. Hey, don't beat yourself up. Just take what you can, grab it, glean it, and go on to the next thing. Everyone in this room could teach me something. Every single one of you, I know that. Now, it would take a humility on my part and a curiosity on my part to learn it. It would take a willingness for you to teach it. I would hope that in this life we can find these things so that we can get that done. At the start of a semester, a professor is going to give you a syllabus which outlines your learning objectives, and if you follow these learning objectives soup to nuts, you'll get an A in the class. Well, that feels a little bit like intellectual dishonesty to some of you because I have a curiosity about the material. I don't want to just follow soup to nuts like a cookbook. I want to follow my curiosity. So if I do that, I'll probably take a C, D, or F in the class. Well, what do I do with that? My challenge to you is do both. Seriously, do both. Pay attention to the syllabus. Follow your curiosity. Take it wherever it goes. And you will find that as you go to the curiosity, your knowledge deepens, your enjoyment increases, and oh, by the way, it loops back to the syllabus. Like, hey, how did I get here? Well, you came back to the syllabus, to the learning objectives with a deeper understanding, more fun, more enjoyment of the material. So seriously, it takes a little bit longer, but to really properly learn the material, do both. Follow your curiosity, follow the syllabus, just go for it, and call it recreation. I want to take a minute and speak to anyone in this room who feels like they're falling behind. You know, like they fell off the wheel or they're struggling a little bit. Well, I'm that guy. 2 years here at UND, I didn't hit the mark. I decided on optometry in 10th grade, but I came to UND and I did some music and I did some different things, you know, kind of like we do. Took me 2 years to figure out I couldn't sit on the couch, eat popcorn, watch movies with my girlfriend and study algebra. Some people figure it out sooner, but for me it was 2 years. And then I woke up and looked around and there's Marcus and there's Tony Robbins. Success leaves clues. In other words, somebody was getting the results that I was hoping to get here at UND. Somebody was already doing it. And I looked around and one little thing I missed. If you spend 2 hours out of class for every hour in class, you will thrive academically. Now, go to a place where you're free of distraction. Go to a place where you have all of the stuff that you need, where at a time when you're fully awake and alert, and get after it. If you will do that one simple thing, 2 hours out of class for every hour in class, probably everybody knows that already, except I was the last one to figure it out. But once I did, again, it was amazing and really, really beneficial. So you see a couple guys right there. I'm the one on the left. A friend and I decided back in 1996 to become real estate investors. We were going to be some kind of real estate tycoons, I'm telling you. And so we took a home study course from Carlton Sheets on how to buy your first rental property with little or no money down. And we bought a flagship property, the fourplex. There it is, the flagship. And but then just a few months later came the flood of 97. We lost half our fourplex. And so we had to gut it out all the way to studs, dry it out, pump it out, get the stuff out. Craig looked at the fourplex and said, "Shame what happened to your half of the fourplex." Well, so we were upside down. We owed more on this thing than it was worth, and we were just too dumb to quit. We never did look back, and lo and behold, to this day, we've continued to acquire more properties. One by one, little by little, steady, slow build. That's going to be a key thing also to success is there's no overnight, just like flash in the pan, bam, you're there. It's going to take a long pull. Anyone who says, find a job you love and you'll never work another day in your life is a liar. Just plan to work, right? If it's something that, and we'll talk later, there's some touch points that if you hit these things, it's very doable, but it's going to be work. I guess I'm thinking about a couple football players right now, Kirk Cousins and wide receiver. So yeah, hamstring and a torn Achilles. Do you think they're working hard right now? They love football. Justin Jefferson. So they love the game and they're working really, really hard to try to rehab that so they can get back in the game. Just plan to work. It's going to be work. Let's take a look at kindness. So we kind of touched on competence. Now let's look at kindness. Kindness. Do any of you know the name Ken Towers? So Ken Towers locally owned Italian Moon and Wendy's. Ken loved people, and he especially loved young people. So Ken and I were having a really nice heart-to-heart chat one time, and we agreed, in business, you got to watch your bottom line, but you watch it out of the corner of your eye, and front and center you put people. and the care of the people and serving the people. That's the key. Those who will find joy in life will be the ones who figured out how to serve. It really is fun. There is no greater joy than finding an effective way to serve people. One of the most humble and curious people I know, we're back to kindness, is a guy named Ron. Some of you probably even know Ron. He doesn't have a last name for our purposes here today. Ron is an automotive repair technician over at Rydell's. Ron was an amazing technician. He's up in his 60s now, but he was curious. So he came back to UND and studied mathematics, all kind of high-level mathematics, just for fun. Got a degree in mathematics with a minor in computer science. And then Wes Rydell had the good sense to say, hey, Ron, why don't you come on over to the technology side? So he segued from automotive technician all over to computer technology and everything else for the Rydell dealership. So hats off to Wes for figuring that out. Hats off to Ron for just keeping that curiosity going. Pretty cool. One other thing that we should consider, back to humility. If I'm hoping to serve you, I cannot serve you from a point of arrogance, right? I can only serve from a point of humility, where I say, I regard you more highly than myself. And so from that point, I'll serve. And that's a really, really important distinction to make. Just kind of let go of your preconceived ideas. I love the quote. I didn't make it up, but how come nobody else seems to appreciate my nobility quite as much as I do? Just get over yourself. I'm talking to myself here right now. Okay, next thing. Here we are. I do want to offer one little thought on, has any one of you ever been called out and publicly slammed and they try to humiliate you a little bit? Has anyone ever had that happen? So common rants that people will pull out are, and I won't even look at any of you, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're not funny, nobody likes you, and you're ugly. We get this stuff at the city council with some regularity, I'm not going to deny. And it's really kind of somewhat true, but on it goes. What I'm going to offer you now is a fact that a lot of people miss. Here it is. This one will help you preserve an appropriately positive view of yourself. It will give you a heart of kindness to the one who's ripping you, and it will even enhance that relationship in the long run. Ready? Here we go. The one that's slamming you feels bad inside. They feel bad about themselves. Okay? What they're saying is not about you. It's about the sadness and disappointment they have inside of themselves. That's really what you're hearing when they bleed that stuff out. It's what's going on inside of them. Now, this helps you to look past what it is that they're saying to that heart that's really hurting. It also lets you drop a marker in your mind that says, sometime, not today, not right now, but sometime down the way, I'll be able to show a bit of kindness to them and maybe even become a friend. Because one thing for sure, that one is really hurting, right? Because if they cared about you and if they really did want to give you some honest feedback, they'd do it humbly, privately. They wouldn't call you out in the middle of the group. So clearly that's something else that's just happened right there. So what does candor look like? Say we're on to candor. See, that's 1, 2, 3 on my list of 3 learning objectives. And my same friend Craig, then my real estate partner, my friend Craig says that he's too dumb to lie. So we had a tenant on the phone very early in our rental business, and we're saying, you haven't paid rent. And she's saying, yeah, I paid with a check. No, you haven't. Yeah, I have. Oh, I find she paid. Craig's still on the phone. What do we tell her? Craig says, we can tell her anything we want as long as it's the truth. And then after the phone call, he said, I got to tell you, I'm too dumb to lie, because if I lie, I got to remember what I said. So I just keep telling the truth again and again. I don't even have to think about it. So I got to thinking, I need more friends dumb to lie. That's a really, really good quality. And of course, it's really not that dumb after all, is it? Pretty smart. Keep your conscience clear. For personal effectiveness, for peak personal effectiveness, keep your conscience clear. When I was 10 or 12 years old, I squatted in front of a roll of lifesavers on display at a grocery store. I had my shoe appropriately loosened up to drop 2 rolls of lifesavers in my shoe. 10 or 12 years old, I hobbled out of the store, never got caught. Wait, or did I? I knew about it, and it troubled me almost every day until I was 25 years old. 25 years old, in the thoughts of, you dirty, you messed up, you're a thief, you're a crook, probably no good thing will ever happen. So there you are. And then I woke up and said, wait a minute, I can fix this. It was Tony Singer of Singer's Piggly Wiggly that owned that store. So I sat down, dear Tony, when I was young but old enough to know better, I stole lifesavers from your store. Enclosed with this letter, you will find $40 to cover the cost of lifesavers and a little something for interest. And man, do I feel better. Signed, Anonymous. And I sent it. And I have never done anything in my life to take a piano off my back more than I did that day. So I do challenge you, if you have something just like gnawing you a little bit of, coulda, shoulda, woulda, maybe, and you can still fix it, just fix it and get the piano off your back. Come on, don't you want to live light and really enjoy everything? So that's my challenge for you. How are you doing for time? Good? Good. We'll roll. Sam Silverman's. Anybody remember him? Silverman's clothing store. I worked for Sam all through my years at college here at UND. Took a bunch of tests. I was kind of exhausted. And then in a really foolish moment, I did something I shouldn't have done. Customer came in trying on many, many pairs of pants, and you're watching him pile up on the stack. And he's very insulting about every pair of pants that he tries on. And I said, in a moment of stupidity, I said, do you always have such a cranky look on your face, or just right now? Where's that come from? I don't know. I'm young and dumb. Now I'm old and dumb. So the gentleman puts on his own pants and he walks back to the store where Sam was. And Sam about this high, but a giant in my mind. I just love the guy. And he comes back and, so Steve, did it happen over here like he told me it did? I said, Sam, I'm not sure what he told you, but I'm pretty sure it did. And you could tell Sam was flipping a coin in his mind. Should I fire him or train him? Should I fire him or train him? I think it came up, train him. So Sam said, Steve, I remember once I approached a customer in the front of the store and I said, hi, may I help you? Or are you beyond help? The customer turned and left and they never came back. He said, you just crossed that line you didn't want to cross. I trust you won't have to cross it again. And that was all he said. So what do I take from that? I take from that, number one, the obvious lesson. Don't insult the customer, right? That's a good one. Number two, guard your stamina, right? Guard your stamina. Because the things that you say and do in your unguarded moments can sink the ship, right? Stay at the top of your game. So get some exercise, get some good food, get some good rest, balance it out, heart, soul, mind, strength. Stay at the top of your game, because those unguarded moments of fatigue, they will eat your lunch. Finally, having received Sam's forgiveness, I got to turn around and give that to somebody else, right? When somebody on my team, wherever I am, City Hall, my day job, shows a little lapse, I often think of Sam. Say, hey, we'll use this as a moment to roll you up and teach you a little bit here. All right, head in the clouds. So, anybody remember that? Flood of 97. That's our clinic. After the flood came through, we had 5 feet of flood water through the whole thing and whatnot. And it was a strain. It was a really tense time. And this is not a woe is me story. Don't worry about it. It's a pretty cool story. So Bruce and I, Bruce Storehouse, we practiced together now for like 36 years. But we were sparking a little bit because Bruce, he was clueless, really. He was like his head in the sand. He had our whole team down in his basement photocopying flooded records. They were starting to mold. So he's wearing gloves and mask, and he's parsing these records and photocopying them so that we could some way continue on with our patients. Well, come on. What about the whole future? Come on, look ahead. And I'm out here trying to figure out how we're going to rehab our space, where are we going to come back in the future, thinking at that 30,000 foot level. So Bruce and I, we sat down one time and we were like provoked with one another, just not happy at all. You got your head in the sand, man. What are you doing? Just sitting down here with moldy paper. You see, you got your head in the clouds. We got to take care of today. And finally, we realized in that moment, both of us were doing exactly what we should be doing, right? His view was take care of today in the immediate future. My view was take care of tomorrow and next year and 20 years from now. That's what we need on teams. When you disconnect with someone, don't just instantly assume that they're clueless and out to lunch, because you probably need every ounce of attribute that they have, because it covers your blind spots, right? That's the best sort of teamwork. That's the best sort of diversity. Really look for and connect with folks who see the world from a different viewpoint from what you do. That's what I got from that. Finally, wrapping it up. My son John was 10 years old. I'm heading across town to run some errands. John said, Dad, can I come along? Say, sure, John, come on along. Right along, and John says, hey, Dad, 10 minutes. He hadn't said a word. Hey, Dad? Yeah, John, what's up? Now I'm supposed to write a report for school about a career that I'm going to do for my whole life. And Dad, I can't even think about it. When I try to think about it, it makes my stomach hurt. So I said, John, that's funny because you're 10 years old, right? And nobody's going to expect you to do the thing you pick when you're 10 years old, but your teacher is doing you a service from the universe of careers that you could choose, just starting to funnel it down. And then at 10, 20 years from now, 30, 40, you'll work it out to where now it's clear what you're going to do. So just relax, take the universe of careers and just start to bring it all together. But John, may I please share with you 5 questions, 5 little tests that I use to ask myself, should I do the thing or shouldn't I? Okay, Dad. Okay, number 1, love and serve God, right? What does that look like? Well, it's the difference between right and wrong. Everything that you do what's right. It's everything that you learn in all your religious studies, right? Just bring it all together and apply it. Do that. Number 2, love and serve people, right? We talked about that earlier. Make sure that whatever career you choose, connect the dots back to, yeah, we're helping people. Number 3, decide according to your aptitudes and abilities. I think we even have that. So that's our current, sorry you guys, we got to back up. But that's our current, we have a clinic in East Grand, and now that's one we just bought in Crookston. There we are. To your gifts and abilities, right? Some stuff you're naturally good at, and some stuff you try, and it just won't come. So you got to play to your own gifts and abilities. And the 4th one, what you love to do. You know, what puts the wind in your sails, the fire in the belly. That's the 4th thing. And the 5th is to feed your family. But if you pay attention to these 4, the 5th one will take care of itself, like time and again. So if I had any doubt about the advice that I'd given John, one of my favorite 2 books that I read was, the first one was called Built to Last, the other one Good to Great. Some of you probably read them, business books, super good books. So the Good to Great is a prequel by Jim Collins. Collins talks about the hedgehog concept. With the hedgehog concept, it's the overlap of 3 distinct circles. And if you bring these 3 together, where those 3 overlap, you're absolutely unstoppable. You're bulletproof. You can't be touched. And so those 3, you can see them right there. What are you deeply passionate about? Oh, you can't see it right there. Yeah, there it is. You don't get it? Okay, I get it. Deeply passionate about. Oh, so sorry. Well, then I'll tell you what it is.
Oh, never mind. I'll get the practice.
Circle. Oh, so sorry. I didn't want to take his thing because I didn't know if I had the right to use it. Number 1. So what are you deeply passionate about, right? You're passionate. Kind of like, remember the first one that I gave for John was, what do you love to do? Second one there, what can you be the best in the world at? That's about developing the skill, the aptitude that you have. You can apply that knowledge. It sticks. You can run with it. Third and finally, what drives your economic engine. Bring those 3 together. So I'm juiced about it. I can learn the skill. I can feed my family. When you bring those 3 together, that's as good as it gets. And so, we're back to the final 3. Back to where we started. True meaning of life is plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. Nelson Henderson. Let's do that every day. You can think of a tree as 30 years, but you can also plant a tree that someone can sit under in a minute. You know, some of you do this all the time. You pay for the person behind you in a line, or you hold the door for somebody, just those common things that we can do from a humble heart of service to other people, right? This is as good as it gets. So it's competence. Be really good at what you do. Kindness. Be nice to people. Candor. Tell the truth. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor Gander. And then thanks to all of you for coming. Just a reminder, next week we will not have a session due to Thanksgiving break, but please join us November 29th for the director of the Pride of the North Marching Band, Rob Brooks. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks, guys.